inevitable that the virus will spread in the United States.
So US hospitals can keep up with demand for emergency care.
Cases in Italy continue to soar, but
tonight the outbreak isn't slowing fast enough in Maryland.
It's past the grim milestone of 20.
This last month, the stripping industry has been turned upside down on its head. A global pandemic has caused an economic shutdown in most countries. This directly affects us. Why? Because of the new social distancing laws, we are physically unable to perform in front of our customers. Our livelihoods have essentially been ripped away from us. Now, as we speak, strippers around the world are adapting to new methods of working. There are essentially two types of virtual stripping that have emerged from the ashes. We're going to talk about what they are and how you can get involved. So the first type of virtual male stripping is Zoom live strip shows. So Zoom is just the software, but essentially it's just live strip shows on a webcam. The second type of virtual stripping is virtual striptease messages. So these are like customizable messages that clients can purchase for somebody else. So for instance, when somebody has their hen's party cancelled due to the coronavirus, or they've missed a birthday because they're interstate or overseas, or any number of other situations, they can then contact you. They can tell you what message they want to send to that person, and then basically all you do is record you saying that message in a virtual striptease video format. That's the second type. It's virtual striptease messages. So what's the future of the industry with these two new types of stripping on the virtual platform emerging? Let's have a look. So the thing with doing the live shows is the more effort you put into it, the better it's going to be, obviously. But what can you do to make it better? Well, one thing you can do is make sure you have something that can capture high quality footage, because the last thing you want for your clients is pixelated and bad quality video, because they're not going to see anything. Depending on your phone model, that might be suitable, because some of the phones these days have a very good resolution for video, like some of the latest iPhones or Samsungs or Google Pixels. However, if you're still using an outdated phone, wouldn't suggest using that. Some people use their laptop webcam. Once again, really bad quality. Now, the second thing you can do to increase the quality of this experience for your customers is to also make sure you've got a strong internet connection. Obviously, your geolocation will have a massive influence on this, but if you are in a city or urban area, don't be stingy. Make sure you upgrade to the most powerful plan you can get, and make sure you get the most strongest connection, whether that be fiber optic or something else available in your area. So after you've got something to record with and an internet connection, you'll need an account or a subscription. Now, like I said before, most people use Zoom. It's the most popular in the world right now. So getting a Zoom account is relatively easy, it's free, and depending on how many people you want to watch your show, you may have to actually pay for a subscription to this software. After that, then it's all about setting up your room and also making your performance as best as possible. So there's a massive difference between performing on stage for a live audience and performing in your room by yourself to your audience, which is watching on the internet. You need to actually practice filming yourself performing quite a few times before you start selling yourself doing live performances. The reason being is, on your first few practice runs, just filming yourself, you'll probably realize that you go out of camera maybe a few times, maybe you get too close at some points, or maybe you're just too far away. So what you want to do is you really want to become aware of your surroundings in terms of the digital format of a camera capturing your performance. Make sure that you also use tape to mark on the ground your actual perimeter of where the camera can actually pick up. So whilst you're doing your live shows, you're never actually stepping out of the frame. It's a foolproof system, so always mark out your areas with tape. Make sure you've got good lighting in your room, okay? So definitely invest into some photography equipment, some studio quality lighting to put behind your camera, or maybe even to the sides as well. And also, if you want to really show your muscle definition, then make sure you invest in some kind of a downlight to enhance the effect of your shows. Also, having your shows to have different colors in the lighting as well. If you can also program that, maybe some different flashing colors, the more effort you can put in, ultimately the better it's going to be. One more note on that, just be careful, don't make it too dark, okay? So a lot of the time people can get too carried away with the whole flashing colors and the lights, and they'll go out and buy a strobe light and all sorts of stuff, and it becomes too much for the actual camera to handle. So you've always got to be aware of the limitations that your recording device can actually have when capturing different fluctuations in light. And lastly, I would suggest is making sure that you have a nice presentable environment. So a nice open clear room, maybe put a backdrop behind you, some sort of customized, I don't know, poster, or just a nice photography backdrop of just a plain color or something. Just don't be performing in your basement or your bedroom with your beanbag over there and your dog sitting up there and your computer in the background and whatever you've got going on in your room. It looks unprofessional. Okay, so really take the time to set up your room if you're going to do this, so you can do it to the best of your ability. For dancing purposes, I recommend buying a nice big vinyl spreadsheet to put on the ground, maybe like one with a pattern, a checkered pattern, or just a plain one, because that way you'll be able to do knee slides and floor work. Because the guys that have basements with concrete ground, you're going to find it really hard to do your normal routine and just dance in general. So if you do have a type of flooring that isn't going to be to your benefit, then make sure that you invest into that nice vinyl big spreadsheet that you can put on the ground, because it's ultimately going to help your live shows look way better. Okay, so let's look at some of the pros of doing live webcam strip shows on Zoom. Now, the first pro I would say is it's the closest thing that we can do to real stripping given the current climate. Secondly, it's more intimate as well, mainly because you can actually talk throughout your performance if you want. You can actually walk up to the camera and see what people are writing in the chat section of the live feed. And you can actually even react to what people are saying, which can make audience interaction still have a major factor in your live performances. Once again, bringing that authenticity and that real life experience back into it. They may not be physically there to touch you or get up close and personal with you, but they could perhaps even say what they want to see, tell you things that you want to do, and you can go back and do those things. So it can kind of be quite a fun activity for both the audience and also yourself to keep the show interesting. And lastly, I'd say one of the big pros is you can probably charge more, because it's a live show and it requires more effort. And for that reason, I'd say that you would definitely charge more for live shows as opposed to pre-recorded shows or virtual striptease messages. Now let's look at the cons of doing a live show. It can look very tacky and very unprofessional. And it can look that way very, very quickly and easily. You literally have to spend a lot of time, money, and effort into investing into this type of stripping to make it look professional and make it look good. I'm being serious when I say that. As of this recording right now, I am yet to see a single person out there that has actually done a good live webcam show on Zoom. Every single damn live Zoom striptease show I see advertised online on social media, it looks really tacky, really unprofessional, because you've got these guys that are just dancing in their garage, in their bedroom, with shit lying everywhere, with their gym equipment in the background, and it looks shit. I'm just saying it how it is. It looks fucking terrible. And I can't believe people pay money for this, because you really need to up your game. And I'm telling you right now, no one's doing it. As of this recording date, no one's doing it. And if you can actually offer something professional and you know, something really, really good, and you can show that to your customers, you will dominate the market, period. And the other con here, which is probably one of the most biggest factors personally for me, is it's very, very time consuming. Now, if you have umpteen amount of time on your hands and you're doing fuck all throughout the day, then I guess it's probably not a big deal for you. But for a lot of people out here that have busy days, or we want to get productive things done, then it's very, very time consuming. You're going to have to take an order for a live show, or take multiple orders, schedule in time slots so you can bunch people in together into those different show time slots, and it takes a lot of effort because you've got to get your costume on, you've got to get the room set up, the lighting right, you've got to get the equipment set up, you've got to make sure everything's working, and then you've got to actually do the show, do a proper performance, put your heart and soul into it. It's a very time-consuming process, so just be very aware of that. Now, talking about virtual striptease messages. Now, the first pro is huge for me. It's both time and energy efficient, so it's going to require little time and little energy on your behalf. Like I said before, all you got to do is come in and just film a message and then add that into what you've already created. The great thing about this is you can take in as many orders as you want. You can really handle large order loads. And what that does is increases your chance of a greater profit. Whereas with the live shows, you're only restricted to the amount of times that you can replicate that process, which isn't much because it's so energy and time consuming. Virtual striptease messages being so easy to do means you can just pump them out one after the other. You can take in 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 orders in one day, and you can just film 40 different messages. It's really quick to do, and just to put it in front of the video in your editing program, it doesn't take long at all. The next massive pro I would say is that it can look very professional. Now, obviously, once again, this depends on what you've got to record, and assuming that you've acquired some basic video editing skills on a computer, it really doesn't take long to make the video of yourself doing the striptease look quite cool. The fact that we were able to pre-record it and edit it online means that we can take out all the little bits we don't like, we can include all the bits that we do like, focus on certain things, zoom in, we can really make the whole experience look very, very, very professional. So what this ends up inevitably doing is it creates a high quality product. Now, some of the cons, well, it's not as intimate as doing a live webcam show. It still is offering an element of intimacy with the customized message. So it may not be essentially intimate for the person booking it, but for the person receiving it, it's very intimate because it's a personal message from somebody else through you to them. And lastly, another con is that you can't charge as much for this as a live show because it requires less time and energy. However, like I said before, you can produce multiple amounts of it. But then again, like I said before, you can produce larger quantities of it as opposed to doing the live shows. So it kind of balances it out. So if you want to learn about how to set up a virtual striptease message service, then I will show you exactly what I personally do for the ones that I'm currently offering in Male Stripper Academy. I'll show you guys the camera angles that I use, the different types of transitions, and I'll show you exactly how to edit the video. I'll show you what editing software you need. I'll show you what lighting you need. I'll show you exactly how to set up your studio. I'll show you my whole process, literally from step one to the last step. I won't hold back any details. I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing so you can replicate that also for your own business. Now, what's my verdict? Well, here's my opinion. Already governments are talking about lifting restrictions, then people are going to get back into the rhythm of normal life again. That will mean the live shows and the popularity of them on Zoom will dramatically drop. Why order a live show when you can just go to one in real life? You can go back to your favorite club, or you can book your favorite stripper again for a house party event. Why would you do the live show when life is back to normal, essentially? One thing that I don't think will drop is the virtual striptease message service. Now, the reason why I think this will still stay is because people will always be in need of sending a special message to someone. And prior to this, no one really had this set up. So now that it's here and people are already starting to purchase it, people will continue to remember the virtual striptease message service even when things are going back to normal. There will always be situations when so-and-so can't make it to a bachelorette night because she had to go overseas on a work trip, or someone in her family was sick. She feels bad. She feels like she needs to send a special message to her sister or her best friend who was celebrating her bachelorette on that weekend. When life is returned back to normal, people will still be sending these messages because there will always be situations like this. So that's my 2 cents. I may be right, I may be wrong. Does it really matter? Not really. As long as you're using this information in this video to adapt to what's going on right now and you're making money from it, that's the most important thing.